This is Sony's latest addition to its compact system camera range, the 16.1 million pixel NEX6, and it sits between the NEX7 and the NEX5R in the lineup. Like the 5R, the big news for the NEX6 is that it has Wi-Fi technology built in, and it can use apps downloaded from Sony's Play Memory service to add extra functionality. This isn't working just yet, so we'll take a look at this at a later date and focus on the rest of the camera in this review. The first thing you notice when you pick up the camera is that it feels nice and solid, and the deep angular grip has a textured coating that provides good purchase, so the camera feels safe and comfortable in your hand. It's also light enough to carry in your hand for long periods of time rather than on a strap. On the top of the camera you'll notice a mode dial that allows you to switch quickly between exposure modes. There's no lock on this, but it's stiff enough to make it unlikely that it'll be knocked out of position. Underneath the mode dial is another dial that's used for adjusting settings. This falls conveniently within the reach of your right thumb, and it's easy to operate quickly. Its click stops also mean it's easy to tell when you've made a setting change, and the dial feels well made. I like the two-tiered arrangement of the dials, but some may dislike the fact that their thumb rubs on the mode dial as they use the control dial underneath. Just to the side of the mode dial you'll notice there's a small pop-up flash, which is useful for providing extra illumination and fill-in light. If you need more light, there's a hot shoe to slip on an external flash gun. Check out that hot shoe shape. It's the more standard unit, not Sony's usual proprietary fit, so it should be possible to fit third-party flash guns on the NEX6. The viewfinder is another nice inclusion. Naturally, this is an electronic device rather than an optical viewfinder, but it has 2,359,000 dots, and it provides a detailed view. Unlike an optical finder, it also enables you to assess the impact of key settings such as exposure and white balance. One issue I've noticed with this EVF is that it doesn't always match the main LCD screen for colour saturation. Conveniently, there's a sensor just to the side of the EVF that detects when the camera is held to the eye, and it turns the LCD off and activates the viewfinder. This little dial adjusts the EVF diopter setting so that you can tailor it to your eyesight. As usual, images can also be composed in the 3-inch LCD screen. This is a tilting unit, but the range of movement is fairly restricted in comparison with the NEX5R. It doesn't tilt right up over the camera, so it's no help with self-portraits. But there is an app to allow you to use your smartphone as a remote viewfinder. The good news is that the screen provides a really clear view, and when its brightness is turned up or the screen is set to its sunny weather setting, it's even possible to use it in direct sunlight. At least in British October sunlight it is. However, this setting also boosts the local contrast and saturation, in fact to the point that we had to check that we didn't have one of the picture effects activated. There's a lot to like about this camera, but its startup time is a little disappointing. It's a little bit slower than I'd like. Sony's new 16-50mm power zoom kit lens proves a good performer, capturing lots of sharp detail. But on several occasions I've zoomed in accidentally, as the zoom switch falls in the natural resting place for my thumb. I think it would have been better if the lens didn't have the switch, as there's a zoom ring that works well, albeit with a slight delay. The NEX6's menu is extensive, and although it's pretty sensibly arranged, it takes some getting to grips with. The metering, white balance, dynamic range optimization, creative styles and picture effect settings, to name just a few, are all found in the brightness and colour section. There's a separate image size area for things like aspect ratio and image quality, and controls over things like focusing and drive mode are found in the camera section. If you want to change the brightness of the LCD or the information that it displays, you need to look in the setup menu. Helpfully, there's potential to customise the purpose of the buttons on the camera, so you can set it up to suit how you shoot. The FN or function button near the shutter release can also be used to access 6 controls of your choosing. As it's not possible to use the picture effects when shooting RAW files, I assigned the picture effects and image quality options to the function menu. It would save a bit of faffing about if the filter effects were available with RAW files though. These buttons are also customisable, but we found a firmware glitch is preventing the lower one from being customised away from accessing the AF point selection mode. It also defaults to a Wi-Fi oriented option when the camera detects a Wi-Fi zone. I really like the NEX6 in many ways. Its image quality is excellent and colours are natural but vibrant. Exposure is also good in most situations, and the dynamic range optimizer or HDR modes are on hand to help deal with very high contrast situations. However, I can't help wishing that the camera had a fully articulated screen rather than a tilting one, because this would be much more useful when shooting upright images. The camera would also seem right for a touch screen, which would make inputting Wi-Fi network passwords and selecting AF points much easier. For more information about the Sony NEX6, take a look at my review on techradar.com.